Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so Skip, Shannon, let's get to it.
Good morning. Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from LA. I'm Jenny Taft with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp. We are getting into the Halloween spirit today. How you guys doing?
Yeah.
Old candy corn eating Skip, baby.
Yeah, here comes Halloween. Yet, every day on this show is a horror movie for you. Am I right?
Are you sure?
Every day.
So
every day. All year round. Every day is Halloween.
What holiday is it for your Cowboys? Easter, because all you do is lay eggs.
We're waiting till next year.
No, now you wait till next year.
Yep.
This year just got started.
Easter, because all you do is lay eggs. You've had that one prepared, Shannon. That was impressive.
Yes.
How about the Clippers, though? They may be looking to make some moves, possibly an upgrade at the point guard position, and that's where I'd like to begin the show. There are reports saying that they're interested in signing Rajon Rondo. The veteran guard just won the title with the Lakers, but has made it clear he plans to test the free agent market this offseason. So the Lakers are also reportedly interested in re-signing him. Shannon, if Rondo did defect to the Clippers, how big of a blow would this be to the Lakers?
Hold on, wait a minute. Why would the Clippers need a point guard? The Clippers got a point guard. Yes, they do. Whoa. Time out. I heard Doc Rivers telling everybody, I give him the same leeway that I gave Rajon Rondo. I turned the offense over to him. I wonder if Golden State is on the market.
Wait, he was talking about Kawhi.
No. I wonder if
You're talking about Patrick Beverly.
Okay. Pat Bam.
Yeah.
He said it was their time. It looked like his time at point guard is up in L.A. Skip, look, obviously it would be a blow. Now, let's put this thing in perspective because I like to do context. That's not AD, that's not LeBron, but he gave us valuable playoff minutes. He was our third best player. He was our third most consistent player. We kind of knew what you're going to get from Rajon Rondo. He gave LeBron an opportunity to get off the ball, not have to initiate the offense for the entirety of the game. So, with that being said, I believe Rob Pelinka is going to try to re-sign him. Now, if that does not happen, I got faith in him that he'll make this thing work. Now, look, Rondo was supposed to make, $2.7 million? He's going to opt out because, like I said, I believe he's played himself into a better contract. I also believe KCP has played himself into a better contract. The question is, Skip, what's the numbers going to be and for what's the length of time? Because I believe if it's going to be somewhere 2 years, maybe $15, $16 million, I believe the Lakers will match that. You start getting 2 years, $10 million per year, 2 years, $25 million. We wish you the best of luck, Rondo. You ain't got to move very far. Different parts of L.A. You got to be close to Playa Vista as opposed to being close to El Segundo. So we get that, Skip. Rondo's proved his value. The guy's a 4-time assist leader. He played big. You look at the last game, stealing the ball, assisting the ball. So, yeah, Skip, it would be a loss. It would be a loss to us. But it's not Bron, it's not AD, and Rob Pelinka will be able to figure this thing out if they were to lose Rondo. I think the biggest question is, Skip, it's not going to be money, it's going to be playing time because it might be an opportunity for him to go from a role player coming off the bench to a starter.
Bingo. Thank you. You finally got there. You know, Mr. Sharp, there are some things in the world of sports that the moment you hear them, you do say, bingo. That's it. That's the magic move. Rondo to the Clippers would be the difference next basketball season. That would make the Clippers the champion and the Lakers some runner-up. Western Conference runner-up. Yes, it would.
Okay.
This is the move that would make so much sense for Rajon Rondo because it would be a legacy move. I'm not going to go all the way Deion Sanders here, but you remember very well what Deion did for the San Francisco 49ers.
In 94.
When he helped Steve Young get, as everybody was writing at that point, the proverbial monkey off his back as he broke through and finally won his one and only Super Bowl.
Right.
And then he said, Jerry wants me? Jerry's going to pay me all that money? I think I'll become a Dallas Cowboy. And he went and helped, of all college coaches, Barry Switzer win his one and only Super Bowl. And it was a legacy move because the world sat back and said, Deion did that, and then he did that.
Swung the pendulum
right?
of power.
Okay. I'm not saying Rondo is quite Deion, but he's up in there somewhere because I'm just not sure your guys would have won this championship without Rajon Rondo. He was your third most valuable player, but in fourth quarters, he was often the most valuable player because he led your team in the playoffs in fourth quarter assists. He constantly set up your offense, and as he is so gifted at doing, he got the ball to the right place at the right time to the right player. Right. It might be LeBron, it might be AD, it might be Kuzma, who did lead your team in fourth quarter three-point shots made. But guess who was second in threes made in the fourth quarter through the playoffs? Rondo. Yeah. As they call him, playoff Rondo. I swear to you, obviously I was rooting against your team. Every time the ball left his hands, I said, that's good, because his body language told me that's good. Yep. Did he not shoot it with authority and conviction?
What was that game? Game 3 and Game 6, he was unbelievable.
Lord have mercy. As soon as it left his hand, I said, that's nothing but bottom of net. And
Game 4, my bad.
Yeah, and you don't think of him as a knockdown shooter.
No.
But he made 40% of his threes that felt like 75% of his threes through the playoff run.
Skip, remember the Nuggets, though, series, where he was spectacular shooting the ball from outside.
Just spectacular. So my point is that when you have a guy like that, he suddenly, at age 34, has an opportunity to go to your arch rival that shares your building, that lives in the basement of Staples Center, and he's just against the grain enough to have no real loyalty to the Lakers. Not that he hates the Lakers, but he's his own man.
He like Bron. Because remember what he said, Skip? He said he was always thinking, he was sitting back there thinking, say, you know, if I ever team with a guy like Bron. Now, he didn't say if I team with a guy like Kawhi. He never said if I team with a guy like Paul George.
Maybe he'll say that now.
Whoa. He said if I could team with a guy like Bron. You know, I'm talking about from the mental aspect of it.
Yeah. Remember Rondo's quote after Game 2 against the Nuggets, which ended with AD making a three and yelling, Kobe!
Yeah.
Rondo said after the game, play was called for LeBron. I locked eyes with LeBron, and he did not move. That was the quote. He did not move. Yeah. LeBron was locked up. He was froze.
Yeah, whatever.
He was 1 for 6 from the floor in the fourth quarter, and Rondo said, I got to get it to AD.
The biggest thing is that what it would do, it would strengthen you, but it would also weaken us. So you would kill two birds with one stone.
So, and then Rondo would rise into the company of one of, at that point, it would be 6 players who've won a championship for 3 different teams. Obviously, Boston, and then Lakers, and then Clippers.
Hold up. So you already giving, if Rondo leave for the Clippers, you already giving them the championship.
Who was favored going into these playoffs? The Clippers were. What would be the missing piece to the puzzle? A true point guard. I love Patrick Beverley, but he is not a true point guard. Guess how many assists Pat Bev averaged through the playoffs?
What?
How about 2?
That's it?
2 assists.
And he doing all that talking? I thought he was Magic Johnson on the rock.
I'm not even sure he's a better trash talker than Rondo is. He's a more out front trash talker. He's a more in-your-face trash talker.
A more front-running trash talker.
You can argue that. He's more of a spotlight trash talker because he's just flat out louder than Rondo is. Rondo is this way. He's out of the side of his mouth. Rondo is Larry Bird-esque in his trash talking. Bird lean over and say, you ain't.
Rondo's the guy, the team at the free throw line shooting, and he go try to dap the guy to shot the free throw.
Yeah. Okay, that's Rondo. He has true edge to him. Yeah. He is an edgy player.
He is.
Against all grain, who's going to do it his way or your highway. You go on the highway. He's not going to take anything from anybody. And a guy who made a grand total last year of $2.4 million for your Lakers, you want to talk about, is that the most valuable 2.4 the Lakers ever spent? That guy still has a chance to be in the Basketball Hall of Fame, to me. He just does because of his impact on games. Remember, while Pat Bev has made 3 all-defensive teams, guess who's made 4? Rondo. Guess who has led this league in steals? Rondo. Guess who twice has led this league in assists? Rondo. Pat Bev can't carry Rondo's jock when it comes to running a team.
No.
I'm sorry, he has no idea. What did the Clippers too often degenerate into, especially in games 4, 5, and 6 against the,
well, it would be
5, 6, and 7. Yeah, Kawhi or bust. Where a lot of times he dribbled the ball up the floor. If Pat Bev dribbled it up, he just lobbed it over to the right wing.
And go stand in the corner.
Yeah, and he'd go stand in the corner. And he'd say, you do it. And too often Kawhi would catch the ball way over on the right wing near the Clippers bench. Two would come to him. And he'd say, okay, dribble, dribble, dribble. Maybe I can split the double team. Right. Maybe I can just rise up here and shoot a three. That's not going to work often enough. No. Are you going to make 50% of those shots? No, you are not.
Plus, Skip, what it would allow them to do, it would allow them to take Kawhi off the ball. Kawhi doesn't want to handle the ball that much. Yeah, he can handle it. He's gotten better at handling the ball. But it would take him off the ball for the most part and let him do what he really does. Yeah. Now he can play off the ball. He can even be more effective than he already is, because that's what it allowed LeBron to do. It allowed LeBron to get off the ball, not always having to initiate offense. And plus, you see the big threes that you mentioned, the one in against the Nuggets, but what about the dagger three against the Miami Heat? It was Rondo that dribbled into the lane, kicked it out to AD, and AD finished it off with a three.
He played 25 minutes a game in the playoffs, and they were as crucial a 25 minutes as you'll find on any team that went to the bubble.
9, 4, and 7, what do you average?
9, 4, and 7. Pat Bev averaged 6, 4, and 2. 2 assists?
Hold on. You doing all that talking. Now, if you didn't know better, I say, man, Pat Bev, you got to have Dame numbers. Okay, maybe he got the kid in the in Phoenix. Book. I mean, he doing all this talking with 6 points and 2 assists. And he all up his Steph's face saying, y'all time is over. No, he said, it's our time. He told LeBron, you know it's over for y'all, right? He know what he told LeBron. He had the nerve to tell LeBron after they got Kawhi and Paul George, you know it's over for y'all, right?
Well, he did make a play on LeBron at the end of the Christmas Day game that was just vintage Pat Bev.
Well, you know what?
He blocked his shot on the way up, knocked it out of his hands, off his hands, out of bounds, game over.
Let me tell you what we're going to do. Let me tell you what we're going to do. Now, I don't know when the season starts. Is it going to start in December? It's going to start in January. Now, in Staples, on our opening night, we're going to raise a banner that says World Champ 17. On your opening night, y'all going to raise a banner almost division winners. And we won the Christmas game, and we won opening day 2019.
You did.
Those are your banners.
Okay. Rondo would change all that. Rondo would be the difference maker because, to your point, he would hurt your team. But more important, he would put the Clippers over the top. And you can't tell me if they had Rondo this past year against those pesky Nuggets, that when they had a 16-point lead in the first closeout game and a 19-point lead in the second one and a 12-point lead in the final one, you can't tell me with Rondo at the controls in the fourth quarter they wouldn't have gotten home in one of those 3 games.
Y'all could sign Rondo. Rondo signed back with us. Y'all could have signed him.
Okay, but now is now. And now I believe that Steve Ballmer, you know how gung-ho he is.
Yeah.
He gets his man. When he wants his man, he goes and gets him. I believe he should make Rondo, I believe he is making Rondo their off-season target and goal, because that's the missing piece to their puzzle. And it was a puzzle at the end of the year because you couldn't figure out how can this team not close these deals.
The question is, because you know Rondo now. Rondo got no problem getting in guys' face and tell you when you're wrong. Kawhi going to be able to handle that?
Yep.
You sure?
I am sure.
Because nobody's ever challenged Kawhi. Oh. You know, last time they challenged Kawhi, Kawhi shut it down for 73 games. That was the last time Kawhi been challenged. So since then, everybody's been walking around Kawhi Leonard like they're on eggshells.
Well, you know who really needs to get challenged right in his face is Playoff P, or as you call him, Playoff P-E-E,
yes,
right?
Exactly.
Okay, well, that's what he was. Yeah. I give you that. Rondo would change some of that.
They're going to trade him anyway. He ain't going to be.
I don't think so.
They're gonna trade him.
Why would you even think about threatening the nucleus of a team that was favored by all the odds makers to win it all going into the playoffs?
The fact that he's part of the nucleus. That's
why would you tear up a team? You want this team tore up because you are fearing this team.
Well, first of all, we tore your tail up last year, so we're going to tear it up again. Now, if you think Rob Pelinka is right now on some beach kick back because they want. That's not what he's doing. He's right there, mad genius, just trying to put this thing together, Skip, like the Minority Report. You remember Tom Cruise movie? How they movie thing? That was way ahead. That movie was way ahead of its time. That's what he's doing right now.
You picked some obscure movies.
He put pieces together. He's like, okay, LeBron, AD, Bradley Beal. Ooh, okay, Victor Oladipo. You know, he's running scenarios through his head.
But wait a minute, Bradley Beal's going to Golden State.
Hold on, I'm just saying the scenarios that Rob is running through his head. He and LeBron and AD right now. I know you see LeBron, he walking all around, but guess what? He on Zoom calls on a nightly basis, him, AD, and Rob.
From Vegas, I guess.
Don't worry about where he at. Stop telling get a man what. You know what's Skip. All you do is just rat people out.
And speaking of Vegas, and speaking of LeBron, look, the point is, you touched on this. Why would Rondo want to be a backup when he could be the starter, the point guard, the driving force for a team that, if they land Rondo, would be favored to win it all? Why wouldn't you want to just go to the Clippers?
Would you rather be a backup in Tampa, Green Bay, or Kansas City, or a starter for the Jets? Because y'all the Jets.
The Jets?
Yeah, the Jets.
Were the Jets favored this year to win it all?
Y'all ain't Skip. Will you start with that favorite?
Well, they were the favorite. And by the way, do not discount this. Every game that the Clippers played against the Nuggets, they were favored by more points to win each of those 7 games than you were at any single game you played the Nuggets. What did it take, 6 games against the Nuggets?
It took us 5.
5
it took
games.
Us 5.
Okay, so your 5 games, not one time were you as big a favorite as the Clippers were in all 7 games against the Nuggets. Explain that one, too.
And you know what Steve Wynn and Sheldon Alderson did? It's like, oh, yeah, we took these guys, these jacklegs money. Let's build up another building. $2 billion going up because they betting on the Clippers to cover that. And they did not.
Give Ty Lue, Rajon Rondo, and look out, Lakers.
All I remember hearing him say after the game, he said there were many times that he was thinking. He said, you know what? He was talking, I think it was on NBA TV. He said, you know what? I was thinking. If I ever got with a guy like LeBron, I don't think our team could beat us 4 times before we beat them 4 times in 7 games. Now, that's what he said. Now, he didn't mention Kawhi. He didn't mention Paul George. He didn't mention Pat Bev. He said LeBron James. Now, I wonder why that is. Because he says that's the guy that's on my level intellectually. So, in other words, those other guys that he didn't mention, because that's what you tell me. Anytime someone say LeBron is the GOAT, say Jordan is the GOAT, you say they didn't mention LeBron. Now, this was an opportunity. Now, he could have said a lot of people. He could have said Kawhi. He could have said Giannis. He could have said a lot of different people that was on his level intellectually. He said one name.
He did.
So he's going to be right here.
You're going to lose him.
I'll be right there. Well, I mean, Skip, look here. If y'all going to pay the man $12 million a year, I'll give him 2 years, $25 million, 2 years, $30 million, 3 years, $35, $40 million. Yeah, we're going to lose it.
I'm not sure the Clippers can find that much money.
Well,
I'm afraid it's going to be the basic mid-level exception. It's going to be 9-ish, $9 million.
He's going to be right here with us.
Okay,
then.
so you might be able to offer similar kind of money.
That's right.
Okay, do you want to be a starter or you want to be LeBron's backup?
I want to get me another title.
Yep.
That's what he going to
Well,
get.
if you want another title, you ought to go to the Clippers.
See, that ain't happening.
Yeah. Because LeBron is getting nothing but older.
Oh, see, there you go. See, they said the same thing about Rondo. That's why nobody wanted him. Remember, Skip, how old Rondo going to be? Rondo, 34?
He's 34.
Yeah, so he's 34.
But you know what? Rondo is one of those guys who was born in shape. You know, he just looks like he's always in shape. He can be out of basketball for a while, and he's just in shape.
And plus, the thing is, we already factor. Now, we know he's going to miss somewhere between 4 weeks and 6 weeks with an injury.
Probably
we factor that in.
Okay. Yeah, so do we. Yeah.
Oh, so now it's we.
Yeah.
Now it's we.
So
now
we. Yeah.
Okay.
We.
So now you done go from San Antonio. You left San Antonio and Pop. You went to Golden State with KD. Now you in Brooklyn with KD, and now you back with the Clippers.
Yeah, well, I'm not with the Cowboys, so I got to have somewhere to land, right? And I've landed on the Clippers.
So in other words, you got 5
Clippers.
teams.
Bet it all on the Clippers next year.
You got 5 teams to try to take down by one guy. I mean, you ought to be ashamed of yourself, Skip. You really should.
Well, my Spurs took you down plenty.
No.
Just wiped you out. 2014.
When the last time you mentioned the Spurs? People, the Cowboys don't even wear Spurs. Do they still wear Spurs in Texas?
My man Kawhi left my Spurs for dead.
Yeah, and you think about what he did to you. He left you for dead. and you rooted for him again. You root for him again.
Yep. If he gets Rondo, I have no choice.
Can you imagine? People at home, can you imagine if LeBron James had left Skip Bayless for dead, left his Spurs? He's upset that LeBron left the Miami Heat. Can you imagine if he had left the Spurs, what Skip would have done? Oh, my goodness.
I wasn't upset he left the Heat. Dwayne was.
Nah, you.
And Pat Riley
He left them high. He left them high and dry.
He did. He did. In the 11th hour when they didn't see it coming. Way to go, LeBron.
That's your question.
Congratulations.
Did he leave you higher and drier than what Kawhi did to the Spurs?
Nope. He left us for dead. Dead.
Hey, then you rooting for him. You come out here with jersey, got his shoes on.
He was my favorite player from the start. I told you. And he's got the best shoes on the market right now.
Man, if you don't stop, if you don't start with the orthopedics, they should be comfortable. Because you're on your feet.
You should wear them.
Yeah, no. Yeah. If you're on your feet 14 hours a day, like most, what do they call them? Personal.
Yeah.
What
workers?
No, essential workers.
Essential workers, yeah.
If you're those people, those and you're on your feet 14 hours, 16 hours a day, you need a comfortable shoe.
Yeah.
But that's all they're good for. That's it.
Boy, they got style, too.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah.
How about that?
You ought to be ashamed of
I guess
yourself.
at this point, just to see how comfortable they actually are.
No mercy.
The Cowboys are making changes across their defense. Earlier this week, Dallas traded away defensive end Everson Griffin to Detroit, and yesterday 2 cuts were made. 2-time Pro Bowler Dontari Poe and defensive back Daryl Worley were both released. Jerry Jones wouldn't answer any questions about Poe kneeling during the anthem, but did say Poe was cut for being consistently overweight and for his lack of production. So, Shannon, do you believe Jerry had, nothing to do with Poe's kneeling? It was just about his weight, that his release had nothing to do with the kneeling?
Skip, I think the kneeling issue got the relationship off to a rocky start because Dontari Poe says, I'm kneeling. I don't care what the policy is. I'm kneeling. And I think that rubbed Jerry because we know what Jerry's stance was on the anthem. Toes on the line, helmet in the left arm, hand over heart. That's what Jerry wanted. Dontari Poe
from the start.
From the start.
Yeah, he did seem to mellow during the training camp.
Well, I think the thing is, but Dontari Poe was matter of fact with his
He
stance.
was.
Skip, look. What Jerry is trying to do, and I get it, Skip. Jerry's trying to send a message, but he's trying to send a message through guys that aren't identified as Cowboys. Clinton Dix, he cut him. He wasn't a Cowboy. Dontari Poe, he's not a Cowboy. Worley, he's not a Cowboy. Trade Everson Griffin, he's not a Cowboy. If you want to send a message, the D. Laws, the Jalen Smith, the Vander Eschers, those are guys that are identified. The Zeke Elliott's, those are guys that are identified as Cowboys. Skip, look, it's hard. I played 14 years, and I know guys that were overweight, but they were producing, and coach never said a thing about their weight.
Totally agree.
Now, I've seen situations where guys were underweight. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And guys, we lose it. Well, son, you got to do better. You got to do better.
Totally agree.
This is what this is about. Now, he made it, Dontari Poe is low-hanging fruit. He made it very easy. Now, Jerry says he's 30, 40 pounds. Now, they list the guy at 340. And looking at his contract, Skip, from what I was reading in the paper, they had weight clauses in his contract. Well, if you got to put that kind of stuff in the contract, you already know. Just go ahead and let it go. Skip, the man he was 340 at 21, 22. So what you think, he going to lose weight as he gets older? Mm. And remember I told you, Skip, I said, Skip, I'm really not seeing I am not seeing Dontari Poe. Now they talk about, well, he wasn't rushing. Skip, he's not a pass rusher. Mm. Guys that side don't rush the quarterback. They eat up space. And granted, when you're running the ball, but it's hard for me to believe that they're just running the ball right over where Dontari Poe's supposed to be. I see them toss it left, toss it right. They go in the A gap, the B gap, the C gap. They're getting whatever they want. So, Jerry, but I want to know, Skip, let me ask you this. You've been around the game 40 years. Let's just say a general manager signs these guys, and one guy that he gave $4 million to doesn't even make it to training camp. Another guy you trade during the season, and you release 2 guys.
Fire him. At least put him on the hot seat.
Skip, Bill Polian lost his job because he didn't get an adequate backup.
You're saying Jerry is the GM. Yes, thank you. Yes.
So the owner is never going to find a general manager because that's him.
Correct.
Jerry, you made these. All you went for names. Because, Skip, you can bring it up a lot. Oh, Pro Bowl. But these guys, Don Terry Poe is a long time removed from the Pro Bowl. Gerald McCoy is a long time removed from the Pro Bowl. Clinton Dix is a long time removed. And I told you, I said, Skip, Everson Griffin, yeah, he went to the Pro Bowl, but the guy was available in August. That should give you a little indication right there. Jerry, you brought all these guys on. This is on your watch. This happened to you. This don't send a message because none of these guys are identified as Cowboys. They were on the Cowboy team, but they're not identifiable Cowboys.
Okay, I hear everything you just said, but I have a different perspective on this. I have been trying to explain this to you for several days, and now I have ample proof of my theory. Jerry Jones is in an all-out rebuild on the fly here. Jerry Jones is trying to save the two coaches that he hired. He's trying to prop them up by getting rid of all the naysayers in the locker room. All these negative quotes that Jane Slater had, they're all coming from the defensive side of the ball. And I believe most of them are emanating from veteran free agents that Jerry Jones brought to the Cowboys this year. Why was I so ecstatic about my new improved defense going into this year? Why? Clinton Dix did make a Pro Bowl. It was back in 2016, but he knows Mike McCarthy because he played for Mike McCarthy, and I thought at least we'll have some stability at one of the safety spots. At least you'll have one guy out there who actually knows how to play safety. He may not have, he's only 27, but he may not have the ability to make Earl Thomas kind of plays, but at least he will provide some semblance of credibility at safety that we no longer have. He was whacked before the year started. And I was like, he's gone? Okay, I'm going to go right down the line. Everson Griffin, he's made 4 Pro Bowls, including one last year for the Vikings. The Lions wanted him because he has bedeviled the Lions. He has 16 sacks in 19 games. It's pretty good. All of a sudden, Everson Griffin isn't cut. He's traded to the Lions. Dontari Poe, you brought him up. He has made 2 Pro Bowls in his past, but they were long ago, 13 and 14. But he was brought in to stuff the run. Stop it. Space eat. All you need to do is anchor the defensive front. Gerald McCoy was also brought in to do similar. Those are going to be the 2 new tackles. Dontari Poe weighs 340 pounds. He's always weighed 340 pounds, and I get the weight clauses, but if we go back to Vince Wilfork, who anchored the Patriots defense, he's just gigantic. He's 350. Snacks Harrison, you remember, he anchored a bunch of defensive lines.
Washington.
Oh, Big Teddy. Oh, Lord have mercy.
I played with Teddy.
I know. Just a huge human being. We saw Vita Vea that now he's hurt, but the Bucs are trying to replace him. He's 350. It's just run stuffing because you almost need to be fat to do that job. But you have to be in shape enough to be able to last for 4 quarters. And maybe he wasn't, but I'm with you. The anthem had little to nothing to do with it. In fact, I think Jerry enjoyed the question, and his response was, I understand your question, and I'm deliberately not going to answer it about the anthem because he's saying this is just a football issue. This is a weight issue. He liked that the anthem got brought up because he'd like people to say, oh, maybe it's just about the anthem for Jerry. It still sticks in his craw, and maybe it does a little bit. But right now what sticks in his craw is they are the worst defense in the history of the franchise, and they are dead last stopping the run.
They're 2 and 4, 2 and 5.
5.
Okay, 2 and 5. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, they're 5 and 2. And Dontari Poe weighs 370. Is he released? Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Okay, let me continue down the list. Brandon Carr, they brought him in. They put him on the practice squad first, but they were transitioning him to safety. Now, he never made a Pro Bowl, but would you believe, this is an amazing stat to me. Do you remember his rookie year was 2008? Since then, since the first game he ever played in the National Football League, he'd started every game he'd ever played for every team he was on, including last year's Ravens, who had the 3rd best in points allowed defense, and they went 14-2. Okay? Started all 16 games for the Ravens, so he had 192 straight starts. Is that credible? Sure it is. I told you that a source very close to the team told me last week he openly clashed with Mike Nolan over the scheme that he was trying to institute. It's like, what? And because he openly defied him in front of other players, he got cut before the season started. He was going to be another credible safety. I'm not saying he's a great player, but at least you have credibility.
Well, but the thing is, Skip, when you new on the job, when you got a new system, you got to get rid of those bad apples.
Okay,
so he had to go.
I got it. But I'm saying all these guys, I think, were becoming bad apples. They're all newcomers who are saying, what the hell are you doing?
That are vets.
Yeah, right? All of them vets, including Darryl Worley. Now, I get you. Number 28, every time I looked up, he was chasing somebody, right?
Yep.
I'm with you, but he was a third-round pick in 2016 for the Carolina Panthers out of West Virginia, and he started 11 games his rookie year, 14 his next year, and then for the Ravens, 9 games his first year at the Ravens, and then 15 last year. He has credibility in the league, and he comes in, and I'm pretty sure he was bucking the system, saying, I don't get it. I don't understand what you're asking us to do when you're asking us to do it. And clearly he just lost half the time. Okay, the one X factor here was Gerald McCoy. I love Gerald McCoy. Maybe a little bit on the downside of his career. 6 Pro Bowls. The last was in 2017. So to your point, but would he have brought some leadership? And again, I use the word credibility to the defensive front. Sure, he would have. And he tore his quadriceps and was gone for the year. And he was released on an injury waiver. Okay. That's it. I just named a whole bunch of players that I thought were going to give me some bedrock, you know, some new foundation on defense of players who have been there and done it before.
But see, Skip, you doing this from where we stand is one thing. Jerry Jones, what does the tape say? If you bringing these guys in, you get an opportunity to look at tape. If you watch the tape, clearly they're not the same guys that they were.
I'm going beyond that. I'm going to mutiny. I'm going to open rebellion, and I'm going to a Jerry Jones who just threw up his hands after watching 38-10 Monday Nightmare, and then losing to your arch rival in a game in which you were not competitive from the first drive of the game. He's just saying, I'm playing for Trevor Lawrence. I believe he's playing for Trevor Lawrence. I believe they are in full-on, all-out rebuild, or if you want to use a Cowboy term, reboot, as in cowboy boots. So call it a reboot. Do you realize that a lot of the websites, including Fox Bet earlier this morning, had the Cowboys as a 9.5-point underdog at Philly, albeit we don't know if Andy Dalton's going to play or not, but it has come to this. You're a 9.5-point underdog. They have been lifeless the whole year. They have fallen woefully, impossibly, hopelessly behind every game, including against the Giants. They're down 17-3 at home to the Giants in the second quarter. What does that tell you? Quit, quit, quit. Jerry's just saying, he is just sending everybody out because he wants to go young, and he doesn't care if he loses every game left on this schedule. And I want you to show me a game they're going to win, because I don't see it.
It's going to be clear. They'll sneak up on somebody, Skip. But see, Skip, Jerry is a guy, he's the type of person that goes out and buys designer because it's designer, even though it doesn't go with the outfit or the ensemble that he's wearing. He'll get a designer pair of shoes, even though it doesn't match what he's supposed to be wearing.
I don't think Jerry has any fashion sense whatsoever.
But so he's getting these named players, even though they don't necessarily match what they're trying to do defensively. But they got a name. If I call it name, Don Terry, he got Don Terry Poe. Oh, he got Ha-Ha Clinton Dix. He got Everson Griffin. The name, people.
Gerald.
Those names. So those names resonate. So Jerry's just, okay, he got a name. But do they match what you're trying to do defensively? Well, if you're trying to play a 3-4, Everson Griffin is a 4-3 defensive end. Don Terry Poe is a nose. He's not a 3, so you're gonna he needs to play in a 3-4 defense. Well, you getting guys, Skip, and you want them to play a certain style, but that's not what they do. And so Jerry, if anybody else, if a GM has signed all these players and they're releasing them, not even the halfway mark, man, that GM on the hot seat or he getting fired.
That is correct. I would love to think Jerry was trying to send a message to the locker room with all these cuts. I just think he's sending a message to me as a lifelong Cowboy fan. We're done for this year.
Well, Skip, the message that he's sending, it ain't there's some guys that are still in the locker room that's playing equal to or not worse than Don Terry Poe.
And you mentioned 2 of them, D-Law and Jalen Smith. Please. You're stealing money right now.
Excuse me.
Stealing.
Look at the tape. Get the tape. Anybody that says, okay, they're playing unbelievable, pull the tape. All you got to do is watch the tape.
Yep, and they have made recent Pro Bowls, both of them.
Yes. I love it.
I
love your misery.
I'm done.
You
got nothing to talk. You gonna have nothing to talk about. You got one little thing you're holding on to about thread.
He's actually gonna have plenty to talk about because he's moved on from the Cowboys to the Bucs. And speaking of the Buccaneers, guys, we got to talk about their new receiver, AB. Antonio Brown has already gotten his first practice as a Buccaneer under his belt, and it's gone well. Bruce Arians said the veteran receiver looked, quote, fantastic, and that the two had a really good conversation. Tom Brady said he wants to guide and help AB because, quote, a lot of people weren't born with the same advantages that I've had growing up. They weren't born with the same background or support systems that I had. Interesting quote there. Shannon, is Brady just trying to justify the signing, or does he actually want to help AB?
Stop this, Tom. Skip ain't got no problem. I ain't got no problem with Tom helping somebody. But Tom is helping somebody that can help him win a Super Bowl. It's as simple as that. If AB was banned from the NFL, would Tom Brady still be reaching out? He stayed in touch with AB because there was always a possibility that AB would get reinstated and he could possibly join Tom Brady. Stop this notion. Look, I got no problem. If you want to help somebody, because there are millions of kids just like AB that can't help Tom Brady win, and Tom Brady ain't done a damn thing. Yep. Now all of a sudden he realized that people don't come from the same background or have the same opportunity. That just dawned on him with AB. Wow, it never dawned on him until AB. Skip, it just also goes to show you, had AB not had Hall of Fame talent, AB would have been gone. Ain't no way you do all the things that AB did and still has an opportunity to play in the NFL. It's because he has Hall of Fame talent. That's just the way it is in everyday work of life. Whether you work at Google, whether you work at Apple, it does not matter. If you are immensely talented, you get longer and longer line to do bad, to mischievous or misbehave or whatever you want to call it. But this notion that Tom Brady sincerely cares, that AB can help him win, it's beneficial for both. Because it gives AB an opportunity to get back in the league with a team with a great quarterback, and it also gives Tom Brady an opportunity to win ball games. That's what Tom Brady, that is the most important thing. Skip Bayless has told me the most important thing to Tom Brady is winning. It's not stats, it's not this, it's not that, it's winning. This is all about helping Tom Brady win. I have no problem. I want people to understand I have no problem with that. But don't try to guise it that you're trying to help this man in his normal walk of life, because I do not believe that for 1 second.
For once, in discussing Tampa Bay, you are dead right. Thank you for finally seeing the truth about Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr.
Yes.
I've told you he does have a split personality. Off the field, he does have this nice guy Tom thing going that is totally legit and authentic. On the field, he is Psycho Tom. At heart, he is Psycho Tom. In the end, he just wants to win at any cost, so to speak.
Right.
And I got to say, bringing in Antonio Brown for Tom Brady, and I believe he was the driving force behind this, not Bruce Arians or Jason Light. In the end, this is not a great look for Tom Brady. And he does care some about how he's perceived in public, but in the end, he doesn't really care what anybody thinks. He wants to go win a Super Bowl.
Correct.
That would make them the first team to ever win a home Super Bowl. Correct. I think that was a big part of the allure of saying, I'm going to Tampa.
Right.
Obviously, the coach was, the talent on offense was, the up-and-coming defense was. But in the end, it's like, wait a second. I have a chance to go there and do something that's never been done? A home team getting to the Super Bowl?
Skip, the thing about quarterbacks, when they study tape, they study. Peyton Manning had an opportunity to go to Arizona. He had an opportunity to go to Texas. He had an opportunity to go to Tennessee. He went to Denver. Eric Decker, Demaryius Thomas, Julius Thomas. Tom Brady saw Tampa's talent. He knew what they had offensively.
And he got a little taste of Antonio's talent.
Correct.
He had him for a grand total of 11 days in New England in one game. And right away in the first series of the game, he came in on the second play of the opening drive. And here they went. He threw in 3 passes and went 3 for 3. I think we have these plays if we can see them. Yep, he went 3 for 3 in this first drive. Right, that's the first throw of the game.
Right.
To end. I mean, it's his first play of the game.
They're never let that Scotty Miller play.
Yeah, and then here he goes, and he caps it off with a touchdown pass. This is still the opening drive. He's just saying, I don't care. He's doubled on that play. I'm throwing it to you. And then here he goes, AB to cap it off. Now, again, it was 43-0 at Miami, and Miami turned into a pretty good team at the end of the year, but they weren't at that point.
Right.
Okay, just for the record. Now, Jenna Lane covers the Bucs for ESPN.com, and she does an excellent job. And I loved what she wrote because she's right on point with this. But she wrote yesterday, some have questioned why Brady would risk his own reputation by not only befriending Brown, but going to bat for him. Yep, he has from the start. Brown has twice been accused of sexual misconduct in the past year, and he's currently on felony probation for burglary with battery charges. Brady explained that it's about more than winning, and that he has tried to have a positive impact on Brown. Okay, we get that. But, Tom, just stop it. Do you have some Father Flanagan in you off the field? Yeah, some. But this is about knowing, seeing, feeling right away. This guy is as good as anybody out there. This guy works as hard as anybody in practice.
Right.
This guy plays as hard during games as anybody. This guy runs as good and crisp and sharper routes as anybody.
Correct.
This guy has high football IQ. He can look at his own and know, I got to go here for you to be there, right?
Yes.
They had instant chemistry and rapport.
Right.
Well, yeah, it would be nice. And he said, some of the joy I get in this game is being able to help players win and then be able to earn the kind of money that sets their family up for life. That gives him joy. Well, I'm sure that's true. And I will defy you. You know a whole lot of football players because you're in the Hall of Fame. If you can find one player that has one negative thing to say about Tom Brady who played with Tom Brady, you're ahead of me because I've known a bunch of them.
No.
Okay, just for the record, no one's ever said he's a phony or a fraud or he's really a bad guy. Okay, that's not happening here. But is he driven to win at all costs? Yep.
This is all about that he believes AB increases his opportunity to win the Super Bowl. That's all this is about.
Okay.
This notion about he cares about helping him get generational wealth when he's never given a damn. There are so many people that's not in the NFL that need help getting generational wealth that Tom Brady don't give a damn about. But now this, man, stop it. All I'm saying, Skip, I don't believe Tom Brady, but this notion that he cares so much, if AB couldn't run, would he be this better? Because, Skip, you can see it. You can tell in practice. You could go back and ask John. I'm sure he could tell you, guys in practice, that guy can play. He saw AB in practice. Skip, and plus, the dude had 6 consecutive 100-catch seasons. Nobody's ever done that in NFL history. The guy is a 4-time first-team All-Pro, 1,800 yards receiving, 130 catches, 127 catches. So clearly he can play.
Yep.
So this notion that Tom Brady now all of a sudden cares about the character of a player as opposed, can that player help me win? Skip, at the end of the day, it's not about numbers in football. It's about alphabets.
Yep.
Dubs and L.
I got it.
Tom Brady got more dubs than L. He want more dubs.
We don't have time today, but I've done it before. I've read you the whole quote-unquote rap sheet on AB because it's lengthy.
Yes.
He's not a nice guy. He's proven that over and over again. And I get it. Tom wants to help him a little bit in ways that he could off the field. But stop it, Tom. I'm with you. Because in the end, you're not going to save his soul. He's going to help you win a championship.
Thank you.
And I appreciate Tom's acknowledging, look, I grew up way better off. I had a better support system. I know where he grew up, San Mateo, because I lived there for a while. It's nice. He didn't grow up wealthy, but they were well enough off.
Right.
Okay? And his support system was great because he had a 2-parent home, and they were all for Tom.
Right.
And he was the youngest, and he had 3 older sisters, and the one just above him, Maureen, was a really good athlete. So he had great support coming up.
Right.
And his father was with him every step of the way. We get that. So he's acknowledging, I had that, and I want to share what I can with some. Okay, fine. But in the end, stop it. In the end, you need this guy to get you home. Right. And by the way, the shock of shocks to me yesterday was I didn't even see this. Chris Godwin broke his finger at the end of the game. Remember the rollout throw?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, Brady, I think we have this. He rolled out and just rifled it.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it took Chris Godwin by surprise a little bit how hard he threw it because he wasn't quite ready, and I don't think he got his hand quite around enough. And I think this is the play that broke his finger.
So he broke his left index finger.
Yeah. Well, the right hand worked because he spiked it, right? So the point is, even Bruce Arians said, we went home on Sunday, we flew back, and I had no idea.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, he needs surgery on his finger and is going to miss the Giants game on Monday night. Right. And it could be somewhat in jeopardy for the Saints game at home the following Sunday. And it's going to be on a short week, obviously. Right. Well, as Bruce Arians said, insurance policy, well, this is a pretty good one. Mm-hmm. Because I'm pretty sure that Antonio can have 3 good practices with Tom, 2 real full-on practices, and be okay and contribute against the Saints.
Yeah, hey, AB, run the comeback. AB, run out. AB, run the hook.
There you go.
It's good. You just tag your stuff. You call your play, and you just tag AB.
Okay, and my final point on this, if you will let me do this, Bruce Arians is starting to really get under my skin. Because his quote yesterday, I think he and AB, I think we had a really good conversation today, he and I. He's trying to drive home the point, I'm in charge, I brought him here, don't give Tom any credit for this, when you should give Tom all the credit for this. There's no way he's coming there without Brady being there.
Correct.
He would have gone to Russell Wilson.
Right.
Why wouldn't he?
Right.
Who in your right mind will go to Tampa?
Skip, I hate to break it, BA, but if you were to go on and win the Super Bowl, you do realize you're not getting any credit, right? I don't like to be the bearer of bad news. I hate being the harbinger of bad news.
Yep.
But it's going to that guy.
It will go to that guy, and deservedly so. Thank you.
No mercy. In the latest episode of Detail, Peyton Manning cracked a few jokes at Tom Brady's expense on a completed pass to Rob Gronkowski along the sideline against the Packers. Peyton said he believed it was actually intended for Mike Evans, but ended up in the hands of Gronk. Peyton also said that Brady would never admit it, since he never even admitted that he lost track of what down it was against the Bears. So, Shannon, are these cheap shots or valid shots?
I think they're valid points, Skip. And I think I've made this assessment. It is so hard to critique and analyze Tom Brady, because anytime you critique him or you offer an honest assessment of him, people automatically say you're a hater, you're jealous, you're just mad you didn't play as long as he's played, or you didn't play as well. He got 6 Super Bowls. But to think that Tom Brady can't make a mistake would be somehow, would not do him or you or anyone any justice. I believe he was trying to throw the ball away, and Gronk just appeared out of nowhere, because as Peyton detailed, is that he never looked at Gronk. It's hard for me to see a situation where a guy just all of a sudden just, okay, I'm going to throw Mike Evans, and then Gronk falls out of the sky under that. It's just, look, and people going to say, well, Peyton is mad because he wasn't as good as Brady, as long as Brady. Peyton is pretty content in his life. Peyton won 5 MVPs. He went to 4 Super Bowls. He won 2. He's a Super Bowl MVP. Granted, Tom is still playing at a high level. But I don't think Peyton tries to take cheap shots at him. He's just offering an honest assessment. And if there's any quarterback that's going to critique another quarterback, and I'm going to say, okay, I'll take that to my bank. Because that's what Skip Bayless tells me. Skip Bayless tells me that anytime with certain people, he's going to take that, hit his bank. I'm going to take that to my bank. Now, what I want to hear is analysts. When Tom Brady held up those 4 fingers, I want to know what they thought he was thinking. It was 4 more days till Halloween. It was 4 days to Thanksgiving, or he held up 4 fingers because that's how old he was when he got his first bite. That's what I want to hear what they say. Because Peyton and I both know he forgot the downs. And you know it too. But you want to blame it on he was dinged.
He was dinged.
Had he thrown a touchdown, you wouldn't have mentioned nothing about dinged. Would you? So don't mention it now.
Is it my turn?
Yeah, your turn.
I will give Peyton Manning this. He can genuinely be funny. Some of his Peyton's places on ESPN.com are very funny. When he did SNL, hosted, he's done it a couple times. He was really funny. This was not funny. This was just pure, unadulterated jealousy.
See?
That's what it was. It just was. This is a quarterback who's about a year and a half older than Tom Brady, who had to call it a career after the 2015 season Super Bowl because his body was just betraying him. By the end of his run, he could barely throw it across the room. You know it, and I know it. He was nothing but a game manager down the stretch, and he was a really good game manager. But he did beat Tom Brady in the AFC Championship game.
Did it, and the AFC Championship game before that, and the AFC Championship game before the last 3 AFC Championship games that they faced.
But in the AFC Championship game 2015 season, he threw for a grand total of 176 yards and had a QBR of 36 in that game that they did win. That scale of 0 to 100. And then in the Super Bowl in which he outdueled Cam Newton.
I wouldn't go that far.
He threw for 141 yards with a QBR of 9. He won the Super Bowl with a QBR of 9 because of this guy named Von Miller, who just took the game over as an edge rusher for your Denver defense. Okay, back to this. This smacks of nothing but, remember me? I'm Peyton Manning. I did beat Tom Brady several times in several big games. And I'm not getting enough shine right now because he's getting it all.
Oh, my goodness.
Because he's taking over pro football right now. He is the front runner for MVP.
He ain't no front runner.
Yes, he is. He is.
Skip, he got the 4th best odds.
He's taken little shots, little cutesy, little funny shots at Tom all season long. But this one went right over the line. This one was out of bounds because this one, to me, is flat out wrong.
Skip, he says he does not believe Tom was trying to throw the ball to Mike Evans and Gronk appeared. What's wrong with that?
Okay, nothing's wrong with it except that it's wrong. If you look closely at this play, if we could see it again, he looks quickly at Mike Evans, and I don't know if Mike Evans was his first read or not. Just see the little quick hitch toward Evans. I think he also wanted to hold that zone corner as close as he could to Mike Evans because he saw Gronk in the over route all the way across the field. And if you think that pass was intended for Mike Evans, you're flat out dead wrong.
I agree.
That pass is 15 yards over Mike Evans, and it hit Gronk right in the bread basket.
So he never looked at Gronk, though?
What do you mean he never looked at him?
He never looked at Gronk.
Yeah, he did. He came back to him. He came back to him. His eyes came back to Gronk. And the great Troy Aikman said, live on Fox, national television, he said, the best throw of the day, because it was the best throw of the day.
You probably should listen to the sound because it influences what you're going to say.
Why?
I say it influences what you're going to say on air. That's why I don't listen to the sound.
Oh, why you don't listen to the sound?
That's why I don't listen to it. Well, because I don't want them to influence what I'm going to say.
Well, that just verified what I thought immediately. That's a throw. And it was into pretty tight coverage, but it was not intended for Mike Evans in any way, shape, or form.
This is like the guy shoots the shot, a 3-point shot, and he hits it off the glass. Oh yeah, I meant to do that, bank. I called bank. No, you didn't.
You can always see that immediately. You can say, pure luck.
Yeah. You got to stop this.
Like the one LeBron made, falling out of bounds at Washington. Remember that?
Yes.
I accidentally banked it in, or the runner that he accidentally banked in against Toronto.
Skip. We've got to stop this notion. If we offer an opinion that's not favorable to Tom Brady, it can't always be jealousy. It can't always be hater. It can't be always we're envious because our careers wasn't as long as his. Because if everything that we say is going to invalidate everybody, it's hard to believe that Peyton Manning doesn't know what he's talking about. I might not know as much football as Peyton or Troy Aikman, but I played the game. I know a little something.
You do.
But I'm going to trust Peyton on this one. Maybe he's wrong. Maybe the other guy that said it was a great throw, maybe he's wrong. Maybe we'll never know. But that's okay. But we can't say...
Well, what do your eyes tell you?
My eyes tell me I'm going with Peyton. No, my eyes tell me.
I don't think so. Because your heart hates Brady. You're just looking for any little morsel that you can criticize a man who is edging away in the MVP race.
Yeah, but first of all, that's not what the odds say. That's not what Fox Bets say, and that's not what some of the other gambling houses say.
It's what Pro Football Focus said on Monday.
That ain't no gambling site. They do be gambling. They be gambling with them stats. Because remember, they had 3 guys that was on the All-Pro for a week ago. And they got the worst defense in football. Now, the Pro Football Focus graded those guys, 3 of them.
That was against the Giants.
Yeah, exactly.
A game that Andy Dalton actually won.
How in the hell you go from a all-pro 1 week to now they don't even mention your name the following 2 weeks?
So the point right now that is just eating Peyton up is that Tom Brady isn't just a game manager, he's a game boss. He took over the game at Las Vegas. He threw a party on the Raiders, who came in hot. They had just gone in and outgunned Mahomes in Mahomes' backyard.
They beat the Saints, too.
Right? Okay. They won 40-32 at Kansas City, and I thought, boy, this is going to be tough for Tampa Bay. And you know the rest of the story. He took the game over. Well, Peyton wasn't taking games over in his final year, and that was 5 years ago.
Okay, Skip, I give you that. Tom is playing unbelievable. But the guy does have 5 regular season MVPs. The guy retired with all the numbers.
Sure.
Most 300-yard games, most passing yards, most passing touchdowns. So Peyton career, he doesn't have to take a back seat to anyone.
Tom Brady is already talking about playing 3 more years.
Okay, that's fine. That doesn't, Skip, he can play 10 years. It won't diminish what Peyton has accomplished.
Okay, and how about the final cheap shot from Peyton Manning?
What did he say?
About Zoom press conferences. Oh, well, you're lucky today. You don't have those reporters right in your face at your locker.
True.
Did Tom Brady, when he played all those years in New England, ever have the reporters in his face at his locker? No, he always went to an interview room. You saw it?
Right.
He'd go somewhere across the hall, so would Belichick.
But, Skip, you know it's a lot easier because as opposed to you're on Zoom, as opposed to even though you're at the podium, to have 50 guys, 60 guys, and men and women in a room asking you questions.
I think they pop them up on the screen. I think you can see who's asking you the question.
It's different, Skip. You know Zoom is different. Skip, you know Zoom is different.
I hear hard questions every Sunday. I see people getting irritated every Sunday.
I don't hear that. We make excuses like you make excuses. Skip, when he threw the pick 6, what did Skip Bayless come out here and say, ladies and gentlemen? Oh, that guy went to an Ivy League school. He ain't got no business on the field with Tom Brady. You didn't say Tom was late and inside with the throw. You put it on the receiver. And that's what people do. That's not what I do. But that's what people do. They make excuses because how could Tom Brady, like I said, he's human. Okay, he forgot the down. It's okay. I don't look at him as any less. He accomplished what he's accomplished. But he forgot the down. He forgot the down. He forgot. It's simple.
The 2 pick sixes were the same play that he's never run. And it's a weird play because it's an inside screen pass with 2 options for speed outs on both sides. And so if you look to the screen and you don't like what you see immediately, you have to pick one side or the other for a quick out to, what's his name, Justin?
Skip.
I can't think of his name. There's a kid from Penn who doesn't even play very much. And both times he picked him to the right boundary and it went to the house.
And guess what happened? Aaron Rodgers ran the exact same play. He tried to run the speed out from the slot with Adams, and guess what? It got picked because he was late.
Speed out. That was more upfield.
It was an out. It was an out.
It was an out. But these are the ones where you just take off to the boundary.
But guess what? If you late and inside with it, it's going to the house.
Okay. And since then, he's 15 touchdowns to 1 pick.
Whoa. What you mean since when? Since when? So they didn't start. So the season didn't start until after he threw those 2 pick sixes. So now the season starts officially.
Who's had the best stats since then?
No. Who has the best stats since the season started? We don't do that, Skip Bayless.
Okay, let's do the whole season then. Who has the most big-time throws, says Pro Football Focus,
that ain't no
whole season? For the whole season. It's a great stat.
Skip.
Tom Brady leads the league with 24 of those. Who has the fewest turnover-worthy throws of the whole year? We'll do the whole year, all 7 games.
Hold on,
Tom Brady.
Who has the fewest turnovers? Not worthy plays, turnovers. That would be one Aaron Rodgers. That would be one Patrick Mahomes, boy. Am I correct?
Who has more touchdown passes than either of those?
Oh, Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson. Oh, Russell Wilson. And Russ I still trust.
Well, there you go. I got Brady for MVP, and Peyton is sick and tired of hearing about how great Tom Brady is.
Let me ask you a question. If Tom Brady wins another MVP, will he surpass Peyton as far as MVPs?
Well, no, but who's better? Who's had the better career?
Okay.
Well, tell me. Help me out. I want you to be on record.
Skip.
Better career, Peyton or Brady?
Skip, look at this. This is why I look at it. Now, people ask me all the time. If I'm Peyton Manning, I'm not trading my career. Gronk has been more dominant. Antonio Gates has more touchdowns. Gonzo. I'm not trading my career for Gonzos, Antonio Gates, Gronkowski, Travis Kelce, none of them. Kittle, I'm good. Peyton Manning says, you know what? When I retired, I had every record with 5 MVPs and 2 Super Bowls. I'm good. Somebody comes along and beat that. That's like Jack Nicklaus. Skip, he retired. He had 18 majors, 6 green jackets. If somebody comes along and beat that, I ain't got nothing for you. But I did what I did. I'm in the clubhouse. Peyton was in the clubhouse with the lead. Brady has passed him. Maybe somebody comes, and maybe Rodgers, and maybe Mahomes. But I'm good with this.
Peyton is stuck in the clubhouse.
He good, though.
And Tom Brady has only 6 rings thanks to 6 game-winning drives in the fourth quarter or overtime. I think Peyton is looking up at him and will always look up. And by the way, I don't think Tom has even made the turn to the back 9 yet.
No mercy. The start of the next NBA season remains up in the air, but according to some reports, several stars don't want it to tip off in December. The deadline to decide when the season starts is Friday, but according to the report, LeBron is one of several stars that are opposed to the expected start date of December 22nd. So, Shannon, if next season does start December 22nd, can you see LeBron sitting out the first month or so?
I really could. Skip, it's too soon. That would be too soon to start the season, especially for guys that played into October. Only 2 months off. It doesn't make sense. He and the Lakers would be at a huge disadvantage when a lot of people, Skip, had 3 to 4 months off, and some teams had 9 months off because they weren't even required to go to the bubble, Skip. So you're talking about that's an extreme disadvantage for the Lakers and LeBron James. Skip, and I feel bad because I know what the Adam Silver wants. He wants to get back to normalcy and try to get back to playing in home arenas. But Skip, listen to Dr. Fauci and listen to a lot of people. The normalcy is not coming until late 2021, 2022. So even if you get back to your arenas, it's going to be minimal capacity. What? I just saw the NFL said they're going to only allow 20% of Tampa's capacity in that stadium for Super Bowl Sunday.
Yep.
So, and that's an outdoor arena. So you can imagine you're probably looking at, 5-10% of an indoor arena, Skip?
If that.
If that. So the likelihood, and so basically, I don't know how they catch up. So, Skip, we're going to be looking at for the next 2 years, the 82-game schedule, Skip, I think is going to be a thing of the past because I believe you're going to have to be down to somewhere around 60, 65 in order to make this thing work. I think January is more realistic, and that's still pushing it because normally what, Skip, you get 4 months off because normally the finals would end in June, and then you wouldn't. The season wouldn't start until October. But to try to come back and to play at an extreme high level after only 2 months, that's asking a bit much. I can see LeBron sitting out, and that's not what you want. You don't want the reigning Finals MVP, Skip, sitting out the first month of the season when the season is actually kicked off. Bump that thing back to MLK Day, and let's go.
So the players are pushing for MLK Day, which is January 18th.
Correct.
They're going to lose that. The owners have lost way too much money. They can't continue to lose money because this is a very big business.
Correct.
I will bet you the season will start, much to the players' chagrin, on December 22nd.
It's not starting before January.
Watch what happens because the players' union will lose this one. This will be a 72-game schedule as opposed to 82. 72 starting on December 22nd. A number of these star players have already voiced, quietly that they will sit for whatever a month or so. LeBron reportedly is one of those. I will bet you he will not sit from the start. I will bet you if they start on December 22nd, he will play that night and he will play 38 minutes that night. You know why? He has to. All he's got left, chasing that ghost in Chicago, is legacy achievements, longevity achievements. That's all he can do is pile up minutes and points and assists and
not
set
worth it.
Long-term records,
that's why
career records.
That's why I know he would sit because you're right. All this does is punt, and it makes it longer. He's going to have to play longer to catch Kareem's ultimate record, the most points scored in NBA history. But Skip, they end up playing like 70 games last year. They're going to be somewhere around, I believe 65 would be a good number, and they'll probably be 65 again before they get back to the regular 82-game schedule. So obviously for him, his health is more important because the numbers are going to come, Skip. He's just too talented. He a walking 25, 10, and 8 guy, but you can't do that hurt. 2 months is after what he just went through, Skip. They just spent 95 days in the bubble. Mentally, can you imagine? Boxers don't, just think about you a boxer, you go train, you go to Big Bear, you go to Mammoth Lake, you go somewhere, you do that for 8 weeks. He did this for 3 months.
How many minutes did he play against the Heat in the closeout game of a fourth quarter in which they were blowing the Heat off the floor? How many minutes? He played all the way down to the 1:30 mark. He played every minute of the fourth quarter, and he was just rubbing it in and running it up and piling up stats.
That's right.
He is the ultimate stat patter in fourth quarters of blowout victories. He needs the numbers.
Let me ask you a question. How many times you see Tom Brady come out? Tom Brady was. You remember
about LeBron?
No.
Tom Brady has all the records. He's got 6 rings. He's 6 and 3. LeBron is 4 and 6.
I thought we played football. I thought we playing basketball. I think the objective was to go out there and play. Okay, when LeBron sets out, Michael Jordan played all 82. LeBron James played. Look at him. He's trying to play all 48 minutes. He can't win. Because if he doesn't play, Michael Jordan and the other greats, Kobe played all the time. Well, if he plays, well, why? He playing all the minutes. He trying to stat pad. So how does he win?
Well, he can't win when it comes to Jordan because Jordan is the GOAT.
We don't need to win.
Knows
we done kicked dust up in his face.
Have you?
Yes, we've been past that.
All you got are bogus longevity.
Now they're bogus.
They're just bogus. Like he needs 4,147 points to pass Kareem as the all-time scorer. That sounds like a lot, but if he just stays on pace, if he can average 25-ish, 26, 27, it's going to take him going into a third year, 2.5 years. Can he do it? Will Father Time's tapping him on the shoulder?
No, it ain't.
Now. Yep.
No, it ain't.
Tapping him.
Let me ask you a question. Is Father Time tapping him or Tom? Because it looked like to me he's still doing everything. Did you see him going down? Did you see the rockabye baby dunk?
Yeah.
Did you see the guy just led the team in 30, 12, and 9. Can I interest you in that?
I just showed you a play on which Tom Brady at 43 rolled out and looked pretty athletic, rolling to his right and threw a rocket that broke Chris Godwin's finger. You like that?
Yeah.
That's what he did at 43.
Do you want me to
think Father Time's tapping him on the shoulder?
Do you want me to pull the tape and I can show you LeBron James chasing down and blocking all these shots? Or you want me to show you him dunking? And everybody said, are you sure? Are you sure this man is in year 17? Are you absolutely for certain this is year 17 for the greatest player to ever live?
You want me to show you the blooper tape from year 16?
No, I got my own blooper tape. Which way? How many I got, Jenny?
Yeah.
Well, how many fingers I got up?
Wait, you know what he should have held up? This.
Don't do that. Don't do that, Skip.
6.
That's what we got.
He's 6 and 3.
Guess what, my guy?
In his finals. Tom Brady's finals.
My guy right here. He right here right now, Skip. But guess what? Next year this time he gonna have
what is that?
He 4-4. 4 titles, 4 finals MVP. About to be 5 and 5. He about to have 5 on it. He got 5 and 5. And then he gonna have 6 and 6.
Well, you need to hold up 4 fingers, and then you need to hold up 6 fingers because that's how many losses
you saw what Mookie tweeted, and you see what LeBron tweeted right back at it, right? We ain't done.
That is LeBron. We're going to talk about this a little later. LeBron has to glom on to other championships to try to impress people that he's actually won more than he has because he's 4 and 6 in the finals.
Skip, you do realize...
He has to tweet Tom Brady, my good friend. Stop it, LeBron. Fame by association.
Skip, don't do that, Skip. Oh, who has more social media followers?
Oh, LeBron does. Does that make him the GOAT?
No. But that's not what you do. That's what you do to me.
Is Michael Jordan even on social media? No.
Hold on. Did you hear what he said? Did you hear what he said? He says, I don't know if I could have did this. He said, with the social media, and he says, I don't know how these players do it.
Yep.
That's what he said. You heard him say that.
Yep. So LeBron needs 795 assists to pass Magic on the all-time list, but that would only get him to 5th on the all-time list. But if you could say, I passed Magic Johnson, the player I'm actually most compared with, if I could pass Magic on the all-time list of assists, that would be a career achievement that would help make my case against Jordan. That's all you got.
Hold on. Skip, I told you, my guy's about to be 40, 10, and 10. 40,000 points, 10,000 assists, 10,000 rebounds. Untouchable.
Longevity. That's all it is.
That's what you got. That's what you got, right? You got in year 21. Longevity.
He doesn't care about any achievements. He cares about Super Bowls.
Oh.
He's got a chance to win a Super Bowl on his home turf. Never been done.
My guy had won the championship on nobody's turf.
Yep, it was the COVID championship.
No, don't do that, Skip. See, you try to middle. See, this is what I don't understand.
Zirconia.
This is what I don't get. Tom Brady's played 21 years, and he's accumulating passing yardage, passing touchdowns, and an opportunity to win championships. LeBron James is doing the same thing.
Tom Brady has, as we speak, thrown the most touchdown passes in the history of the league.
He played the longest.
Okay, do I ever bring it up?
Yes.
I don't even care. I don't bring it up. I don't bring it up. I don't care.
You brought it up Monday. Tom Brady, quietly, has now thrown more touchdowns than anybody else in there. Ain't nobody brought that up. You brought that up.
Do you think he cares?
Yeah, he cares.
He just wants to win.
Oh, my goodness.
Now he give him AB and let's go win another Super Bowl.
Now he don't care.
Yep.
So is that why anytime they get down inside the 5-yard line, he's throwing it?
I doubt that.
I don't doubt that.
Because when they get to the 1-yard line, he sneaks it in the way nobody's ever snuck it in.
Just turn around and hand the ball to Roe Jones or Leonard Fournette. That's what you could do. That's what most people do.
You know, the guy that you think is soft and lame and pretty boy, he is the greatest quarterback sneaker ever, and that takes a little guts. Stick your head in there.
Skip.
Get whacked upside the head by 350-pounders.
Skip.
Yep.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
No, I'm proud of myself.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself saying the man is the greatest quarterback.
He is.
Skip, that ain't nothing.
That is something. Even you said Monday, you gave it high.
Yeah, Skip. That is, yes, it is to be able to pick holes and to know when to go over the top, to when to burrow and go underneath, go left, to go right. Okay. But Skip, you make it seem like he rushed for 2,000 yards.
He takes headshots.
Oh, for a guy that says, "Oh, I didn't want to take. Hey, put it right here because I don't want to lose yards because at that point in time I got 1,000 yards rushing." But he don't care about numbers. We saw him do that, Skip. He said, "I went down right here because I didn't want to go past 1,000." So don't do that, Skip Bayless. Tom Brady is well aware of all his numbers. I guarantee you.
Tom Brady takes headshots on quarterback sneaks from 350-pounders. LeBron takes headshots for social media.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, he does.
No, he doesn't. Stop doing that. You're a hater. At some point in time, you got to stop this.
It is kind of fascinating. LeBron has 74 million followers on Instagram, and Tom Brady just 7.5.
What? 10 times?
How many does Jordan have?
Time.
0.
You're talking about Jordan.
0. Social media when you are the real GOAT. Sorry.
No mercy.
Antonio Brown has already gotten his first workout as a Buccaneer under his belt, and it went well. Bruce Arians said the veteran receiver looked, quote, fantastic, and that the two had a really good conversation. Former NFL defensive back Orlando Scandrick joining Undisputed. Orlando, great to have you. I'm going to start with you. Will AB work out in Tampa?
I think it does. The situation is a great situation for him. He doesn't have to be like the guy right away, but he's going to be a serious weapon. I compliment Tom Brady, Bruce Arians, Jason Light for that signing, and it just keeps getting better. The rich keep getting richer.
I agree with you. I think it'll work for the simple fact it's only going to be half a season. So, and plus, if we're to believe what BA said, is that I sat down and I had a great conversation with him. I think that's the thing that you have to do when you bring these guys in. No matter what the situation is, let's talk about what our expectations are from you. And it's a very short line here. There's only one way to do things. It's my way or you're on trail way. There is no late for meetings, not even one. There is no missed practice or late for practice, not even one. So, go ahead.
But as a player, and I think you can relate to this as a player, you respect honesty. So if that's the true conversation that him and BA had, and it was an honest conversation, and he told him what he wanted, and he laid it out, and Antonio laid out what he was going to be, but BA's got to stick to that. If Antonio's late one time, if he results back to that behavior because he's not getting the ball, he's got to stick to his word, because Antonio is a hell of a player, but he's one of those people you got to kind of keep your thumb on. You got to kind of keep, if you go back and you look what happened with the Steelers, early on, he was great. He was fantastic. Even Ryan Clark said it. But once he got better and once the success started to creep in, it was one of those guys that they seen. Once you paid him, you weren't going to be able to control him.
Right. And you allowed him to be late. So 5 minutes turned into 10 minutes, turned into, like, later for this, Skip. Oh, practice? Practice? What we need that for? because but here's the thing, and then it got to the point where he became, like you said, he became uncontrollable, and then he started bucking on anybody that would challenge him. Like, AB, don't do that. What you mean? I'm a 6-time I'm a Pro Bowl. I'm all this, all that. But now he understands. After being away from the league is going to survive. Remember, he went on IGRO and says, I'm going to do things my way. If they don't want to play by my rules, they're not going to play. I'm not going to play. He found out the NFL has been in business for now 101 years. They're going to be in a business for another 101, and they'll be in there without Antonio Brown. He understands that now, so hopefully I hope it works out, because I believe that he's paid his debt to the NFL. Now, they got some other things going on. He's going to have to pay his debt to society, whatever that case may be. But the NFL says he's free and clear with us. So I hope it works out. But like you said, he's a guy you got to keep your hand on, because at least when you least expect it, he going to be AB. AB going to be AB. So BA needs to be BA.
I'm sorry. I'm calling baloney on your last statement. You do not hope it works out. You hate Tom Brady.
No,
you don't want to see Tom Brady win another Super Bowl.
Skip, it doesn't change my life. It doesn't.
It changes your life in that seat every day.
Why?
Because it's hotter and hotter. You're wronger and wronger.
He wins another Super Bowl because he linked up with great talent, because that's what you said about LeBron. LeBron won all the talent. So now, what you criticize LeBron for, you praise Tom Brady for. Getting all the talent, right?
But time out.
Yeah.
You were the one who went on the record about Antonio Brown and said there's no way you'd have him on your team.
No, that's not my team.
Okay.
I'm talking about me.
If Tom Brady makes it work with AB, goes and wins a Super Bowl with Antonio Brown, who the Steelers couldn't control and the Raiders just blew apart with.
1 second, Skip. But AB is a guy that when he respects you, he stays in line. He lost all respect for Ben Roethlisberger. That's why he started to buck him. He lost all respect for Mike Tomlin. He started to buck him. I don't think he ever had respect for Mike Mayock or whatever. What's the guy that's the
Mayock
down there? Mayock. So you see that blew up. I don't think he ever respected Gruden. That blew up. You know, the guy ain't going to practice, complaining about a helmet. But then he gets down there to New England and everybody say it's not going to work. It's not going to work. And look what happened in the first game. You know, that was cut short by some other issues that AB has going on that he has to handle. But you, as a Tampa Bay Bucs, you can never have too much talent. And at the end of the day, if the talent fits with the culture, then, you know, sky's the limit.
Okay. I went on record the first day and said this isn't a good move. It's a great move because it involves the GOAT at quarterback who does have a rapport and a respect with AB. And I think it's mutual. I think Tom Brady just is in awe of AB's ability to run routes and how hard he works in practice. Right. Remember, John Gruden at Hard Knocks was screaming, 84, you're going to lead this league in energy, right? Well, he does. Right. And he electrifies your whole practice because he loves to practice. So does Brady. Right. Okay? But the head coach of the Buccaneers wrote off AB called him a diva and said he'd be a bad fit here. He wants no part of him, and he did coach him for a little while in Pittsburgh when AB was a young player. Right. And then AB said, we sat down and had a really good conversation today, because now he wants credit for having brought him in.
Well, Tom
deserve none, AB.
Tom talked him into it.
I guess so. Well, that's what happened to me. So, look, do I think there will be some internal conflict with AB and somebody that he's just who he is? I don't think he's a nice guy. I don't think he's a good guy. He's had issues wherever he's been. Will he rub somebody raw in the locker room? Will he get under somebody's skin? Will he maybe be 4 minutes late to a walkthrough? Just watch. Just watch. He will, and they'll just have to look the other way, and Tom will have to handle it.
Well, see, you're starting a bad precedent looking the other way, because that's what the Steelers did. They looked the other way, and then all of a sudden, they didn't have to look because he wasn't showing up.
But last point, though, you know what this league is about. We're going to tolerate you until you can't do nothing for us.
Tolerate you till you replace you.
Yeah, they'll tolerate 10 weeks, which is 2.5 months, as long as it's doing something for them. You'll tolerate a lot for a Super Bowl. Now, when you start struggling a little bit and you got to ask yourself what's going to happen down the road when you get into one of these 20, 23 games and it's the last drive and AB might have thought he was open and the things didn't go his way, you would just like to think, I would like to think as a man and as a player that Antonio has learned his lesson and knows this is his last chance.
And what about the 2 Pro Bowl receivers, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin? Are they going to be real happy about this?
No.
When they get 3 catches instead of 8?
Mike Evans is fine. I think Godwin showed you when Tom comes and he hands over his jersey number for nothing. He showed you what kind of guy he is. I think those guys want to win. I think Mike's been there so long and the culture's been so bad and the losing's been sunk in. I think now he's got a chance to win. He's got all the money, and now with the chance to win, and the chance to be cemented in Tampa Bay history, I think they'll be fine.
It's going to be very interesting because it's hard, when you go from being a Pro Bowl thought of as a top 2, 3, 4, 5 receiver, and all of a sudden you catch him because he's getting half the numbers that he normally gets. And the question is, how do we keep everybody happy? Because that's what happened last year in Cleveland. You remember Freddie came, we got enough ball. We're going to keep everybody happy. And he kept no one happy.
No one.
And then it ended up falling apart. But I believe Tom Brady, because of Brady, because at the end of the day, the quarterback must have the ultimate respect. And the thing that I like about Tom, and Tom reminds me a lot of John, even though a lot of my success came through his hands, he never said, well, you're successful because of me.
You're talking about John Elway?
John Elway.
Yeah.
And see, I think Ben might have said some things that rubbed AB the wrong way, where you do realize that your success is really tied to me. And because that's why AB tweeted what he tweeted. Oh, you think it's because of you? Let me go somewhere else and I'll show you. So hopefully, I hope it works out, because I don't know, this is last chance for AB. Because if it doesn't work with Tom Brady and it doesn't work with BA,
true.
Where is he going to go? Where is he going on now?
Home.
Okay.
Back down that lonely road. But what we can all say, Skip, you included, because you played sports at some point in your life, Sharp, Super Bowls, winning cures all.
It does.
Winning to make things go away. You look down there in Kansas City, they got all those weapons. 1 week, Tyreek might have 180. 1 week, they might rush for 150, 200. 1 week, Sammy Watkins may be the guy, but, those guys never complain. And when you winning and being down there with those guys, they love football. And when you winning cures all.
And by the way, Shannon did not complain when he went to Baltimore and was catching like 1 ball a game, except you're only throwing 3 balls a game, right?
That's it. That's it. But that 1-0, I would take that thing to the house. I'll pick it up. Go. I don't need but one. All the ball. Oh, they need 10. Throw me 10 balls. Give me one in the right situation.
You give you Ray Lewis and you're
you're going to see what he did. Oh, you see, he want to diminish my role. Talk about that Ray.
Greatest defense in the history of football.
But we still had to score some points on the offensive side, Skip.
7, 3.
No mercy.
This weekend starts Saturday strong with the Big Noon Saturday Game of the Week. Jim Harbaugh and the 13th-ranked Wolverines face off with the Spartans in one of the wildest Big Ten rivalries. It all starts with Big Noon kickoff at 10 Eastern, and then Michigan State, Michigan, Saturday, noon Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. So despite the Cowboys being 2-5 and experiencing many key injuries, Ezekiel Elliott is remaining positive, guys. Heading into their game against the Eagles, who lead the NFC East, Zeke said, quote, "If we win this week, aren't we first in the division? We're still right where we need to be. We're still at a place where we can make a run for the playoffs." The All-Pro running back also said they can't have excuses no matter how many guys you have down. Former Cowboys cornerback Orlando Scandrick still with us. So, Orlando, do you like what Zeke had to say here?
Sure. It was a really politically correct line. Politically correct. Oh, Skip, I see your face looking over there. I like what he said. I like what he said because it was politically correct. I see you over there, Skip. But the answer to that is no, you're not in first place because you just lost to the Washington football team. You're not in first place at all. That team's off this week, which that team will come back next week to play the bottom New York Giants. So, I mean, yeah, it's a great company line if we win this week, but I don't even see – this team don't even show no fight. They don't compete. They look like they've simply given up. And it's so many weeks left in the season. And, week after week is – first it was Zeke when I have it on my back. I got to do better. This is my loss. And it's like I know Ezekiel Elliott, like, really, really well. And when Zeke did best, he just came out and he talked to his play. All of this talking in the media every week, it's a different guy saying we just need to win. The energy is baloney. It's terrible. Like, you just get tired of hearing it. And you're just a bad football team. There shouldn't be a lot of talking coming out of a 2-5 or is it 2-6, whichever one they are. Shouldn't be too much talk coming out of that locker room. They should have got together as a team. The leaders on that team, the guys on that team who are supposed to be leaders, and just get better every day. just try and look better every week. But this team has progressively looked worse and worse. And now there's no Dak Prescott to have these meaningless stat games. You know, I'm not taking nothing away from Dak, but there's no Dak to have the excitement. It's just like, at this point, you're getting tired of even seeing this team on TV.
Yeah, I've been tired. But the thing is, the problem that I have with Zeke should have never said, you know, I'm going to step up and be a leader, because if you're going to be a leader, you don't need to tell us you're going to be a leader. You just go out there and play, and then that'll speak to your leadership and go out there and do things. And I agree with you, O. That was the politically correct thing to say. But you know what, guys? Look, I'm not even worried about the call. We're just going to go play our best football, and at the end of the game, we'll see and at the end of the year, we'll see where we are. But we just need to win a game. They look awful. They're awful. And the offensive line, Skip, even if you get Zach Martin back, you still got two bad tackles. Mm-hmm. And the one thing the Eagles can do is that they can get after your quarterback.
Yeah. By the way, Looney might be back at center too, but still two bad tackles.
They do two bad tackles. Right. And so, go ahead, O.
But I'm sorry to cut you off. But what do you think that if you couldn't block the Washington football team, what do you think Fletcher Cox thinking right now?
Hey, but the thing is, Washington built their team. If you look at they front 5, 6, they're all first rounders. You look at Kerrigan, you look at Chase Young, you look at the two Payne, you look at Allen, you look at Sweat. All those guys are first round draft picks. Okay, you go to the Eagles, you look at Brandon Graham and Curry, you look at Barnett, you look at Fletcher Cox. They're built to go get your quarterback. And you know Jim Schwartz put you in the wide 9 and say, go get him.
Will.
Absolutely.
Go get him, and that's where that
put you in a wide 9. He's gonna put you in these one-on-one situations.
Yes.
He's gonna put these tackles on islands, and you know, if this team does not like have a gut check and say we're gonna compete and not embarrass ourselves, Philadelphia will definitely try and embarrass them. I've been on the other side. There's not an ounce of love there, and ain't an ounce of love in Dallas for Philadelphia, and they would definitely try to embarrass you. And Philly is one of those teams who they believe. I give it to them that they believe. They believe even when they shouldn't believe, and they know that maybe it's not what they think, but they do definitely believe. And they're looking at it here saying, we've been through all of these injuries. Now Dallas has no quarterback. They're terrible on defense. This is our opportunity.
And the thing is, before you go, Skip, the one thing you can do against that wide 9, you can run. If you can't run the football against that wide 9 that Jim Schwartz play, you can't beat that team, because they're going to pin you. They're going to put you a yard outside of that tackle, and they're coming. As simple as that, Dallas. Zeke, this better be your game. You better run it.
How about if I have a rookie 7th-round draft pick at quarterback? How about that?
You in a heap of trouble, Skip.
Ben DiNucci.
Ben DiNucci. Thank Madison.
There's also not an ounce of mercy in the Philadelphia Eagles. This is going to get ugly quickly. The Cowboys are now a 9.5-point underdog. Think about that. 9.5-point underdog at Philly, and I don't think it's nearly enough. I think it's going to be way more than that. I already told you, this could be like 40-3.
They're going to bow up. They'll bow up. The Cowboys will bow up. They'll bow up.
I don't remember when Philadelphia beat anybody by 10 points. It's been a long time.
Well, just watch, because my team has fallen hopelessly behind for 6 straight games. Even to the New York Football Giants at Jerry World, my team was down 17-3 in the second quarter, early in the second quarter. Is that more than 10?
But 14 in 6 straight games.
Thank you.
Skip and Shay, can I take you back a little bit? We talked a few weeks ago about coaching. Now, it looks like they progressively getting. Are the players getting worse? Because it's the same players. Or does people have time to see what they're doing schematically and their coaching, and our team scheming them and the players are just bad? Which one would you say?
They have quit on the coaches, the new head coach, and especially the new defensive coordinator. And Jerry Jones just got rid of all the free agents he signed on defense in the offseason because every one of them was bucking the new system. They were all clashing with Mike Nolan, and he said, I'm going to get rid of all of them.
Jerry.
Who vouched for him? Who vouched for him?
Jerry did.
Shay, you know Jerry don't know no Daryl Worley. He didn't know that guy before he walked in. Somebody walked in to him and said, we want to sign this guy. And can you sign off on it?
But here's the thing.
They said, we want to sign 30 pounds, overweight Don Terry Poe. Can you sign off for it?
But here's the thing, Skip. What does Jerry always say? Jerry say, from the time I set foot in this building, I had final say on everything. And it's always been like that. So let Jerry tell it. Jerry knows what's going on.
I'll tell you this, he knows what's going on Sundays because he's watching the film. But somebody brought him the menu and said, this is a good restaurant. And then he went there and said, I'm going to sign off. I'm going to sign the bill. But when he left, he said, this is a terrible restaurant. The food wasn't cooked.
Okay, back to the Zeke quotes. This is exactly what I did not want to hear from the best player I have left on my team, the de facto leader of the team. I don't want to hear, hey, if we win, we're in first place, right? He's asking the media. And then he said, we're right where we want to be. You're right where you want to be? Are you kidding me? If I look back to the last 13 games last year, what happened? How many times did they fall? Remember what happened? Green Bay? They fell behind 31-3 to Green Bay.
Yes.
This is a recurring nightmare pattern that this team is going through. And he's saying we're right where we want to be. I need to hear some anger. I need to hear some sick and tired, some urgency, some watch this. Or the truth is, I don't really need to hear anything. I need to see something, right?
Yep.
I need to see. You've seen a team's body language. Orlando's been on teams where you came out at kickoff and I could just sit and watch my TV and I just knew you came to play that day as a football team, right? I have not seen that for going back 2 years for my team, not for 2 years.
But he got a little bit of that Jason Garrett in him. That's who he was raised by.
Oh, so that is still Jason Garrett's fault.
Hold on 1 second. No, I'm not blaming anybody, but that's what he was raised up in. And, all of our team meetings started off as, don't worry about what they're saying outside. We got everything we want right in front of us. If we handle our business, we got everything we want right in front of us. And essentially, that's what he's trying to say. But they haven't handled their business since this season started.
They hadn't handled their business since the last half of last year. So that's why they got rid of Jason Garrett. And Skip told me they got them a made man. They got Mike McCarthy. But you didn't realize how good that guy up in Lambeau, how much he covered for Mike. You're starting to see.
You mean Brett Favre?
There you go. You talk about. Well, think about it. All he's ever had was Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. You better win a bunch of games over with those quarterbacks, right?
I mean, but Jerry knew that before he decided to hire this, before he decided to only interview 2 coaches.
Exactly.
That you interviewed Marvin Lewis, and then you had a guy spend the night at your house with all them nice hotels in Frisco, all them nice hotels in Dallas.
Yep.
All them nice places to stay. Could have even got the man an Airbnb.
First of all,
stay at your house.
You and I both know that he only interviewed Marvin Lewis because that was the Rooney Rule. He did that, got that at the way. But once he got
go there.
Stop it. You know D well he was not hiring no Marvin Lewis. Okay, you might not want to go there, but let's go ahead and speak fact. He identified.
By the way, he should have.
Yeah,
he should have.
He identified who he wanted. That's why he didn't interview. Remember, because they asked him, "Did you talk to Lincoln Riley?" No, I ain't talking to Lincoln Riley. All these great young, none of them. He identified his guy because all Jerry looks at, just like Don Terry Poe, just like Everson Griffin, just like he looks at the name Mike McCarthy, Super Bowl. That was a long time ago. Don Terry Poe, Pro Bowl, long time ago. Clinton Dix, long time ago. Gerald McCoy, Pro Bowl, long time ago. Jerry likes splash. Jerry likes designer, even though it does not go with what he has. Fact.
So essentially you're saying he likes vintage. Vintage designer.
Once you make a Pro Bowl, that's on your resume. But if I make a Pro Bowl in year 2 and I'm in year 14, hold on, wait a minute, bro. That was many, many years ago. And you signed Don Terry Poe. So are you telling me Don Terry Poe gained 40 pounds since the season started, Skip? You and I both know Don Terry Poe ain't gained no 40 pounds since the season started. He been overweight.
I think he was overweight when he did his physical to come in. But to my point, what I said about Mike McCarthy a couple weeks ago, and, I'm not blaming the coaches, but I think at some point, this guy is kind of old school. It's not resonating with these guys. We're in a different time. We're in a social media time. And I think the time that we're in, the coaches that you're seeing having the most success are the coaches that can adapt to the younger culture and the younger coaches.
Let me tell you what's not resonating. That defensive play. That's what's not resonating. Now, we can blame the coaches. Now, we blamed the coach we blamed Jason Garrett last year. We got a new
but
staff.
you don't go from like upper half, even middle of the pack to dead last.
Hold on.
It's dead last. They can't stop They can't stop the run. They can't stop the pass. And every single player that they have is playing worse. So you're telling me everybody went home and over COVID because of quarantine, they got worse? Or the scheme that they're playing in is terrible.
Skip just told me they fell behind Green Bay by 31-3. Now, we've seen this a reoccurring theme. They fall behind, and then Dak has to do theatrics to get them back respectable. They're still falling behind.
Green Bay 31-3.
And they're still losing.
That was a That was a great team, and sometimes you're just gonna not have it. It's just not gonna be your day. You know that, Shannon.
Oh, I know.
Let me just finish.
I know them your guys, but them guys playing garbage on defense.
I'm just going. They are. I've never said they haven't, but just let me speak facts.
So Orlando, sum this up. Can you see this team winning one more game? Because I cannot.
It's gonna be hard, you know, and so I'm gonna go back to Shannon because I feel like I can't let you get out of here on that either. If you didn't need coaches, why do they have them? If it didn't matter about schemes, why are they paying all these coaches this type of money? As a player, it's your job to produce. As a coach, it's your job to get the most out of each player. So, it's your job to get the most. It's your job to put your players in position. They're not even in position.
I want to know one thing. Is your high-dollar players on defense, since they got their money, are they producing? It's a simple yes or a simple no.
I tell you one thing.
No.
Okay,
as long as that one thing is a simple yes or simple no, you can tell me one thing. But
I know where you're going with this.
No, I'm going nowhere.
No, they're not producing.
Okay, thank you.
But you asking a question. You set me up for a question with an answer already.
Hold on. All I know is a guy
just like saying, all I want to know is.
Okay. I know a guy that got paid $21 million and he has 3.5 sacks in 20 games. I know a guy that got $60+ million and he running around like a blind dog in the meat house. He know they out there, but he can't see nothing. So all I want to know, those are your two big guys that you got paid and they're not playing.
DeMarcus Lawrence and Jalen Smith. Let's name them.
Come on. Yeah. Look, I get it.
No. I understand you.
It's hard to do what we do in this business. It's hard to do it, but I call it. Hey, you know what? I'm gonna have my people at NFL Film to send me the tape, and we're gonna break down tape, and we're gonna look at these guys. We're gonna look and see, and I want you to tell me, say, oh yeah, he did it right there, because I saw a quarterback, a college quarterback, jack a defensive end up. And the guy running back go 40 yards down the field. Our college quarterback playing tight end, jack the defensive end up. And you saw it too.
Next question.
Next question. That got heated. Orlando, we appreciate it.
No mercy.
The Clippers may be looking to upgrade at the point guard position by signing Rajon Rondo, according to reports. The veteran guard just won the title with the Lakers, but has made it clear he plans to test the free agent market this offseason. Fox Sports NBA analyst Chris Broussard joining us now. Chris, could you see this happening?
First of all, I love the music. But yeah, I could see it. I could see it happening. I'm not predicting it, but it is definitely a possibility. With Rondo opting out, we know why he opted out. He wants to get paid, and rightly so. He played for less than $3 million last year. Obviously lost some of that with the pandemic. And then the year before, I think he was making about $3 million. So he hasn't had a nice payday in a while. So after helping the Lakers win this championship, it's time for him to get paid. And if the Clippers outbid the Lakers, I think Rondo will make that move. They both can offer about the same amount. With the Lakers, I think a little bit more. But both teams have other needs they need to fill, other guys they need to sign. So which one will step up for Rondo and give him more money? I think he'll go to the highest bidder that has a chance to win a championship. So, look, also, if he did make that move, he wouldn't have to move. He could stay in L.A. And then, importantly, guys, I think Rondo is making a strong case for the Hall of Fame. And if he were to go to a third team and help them win a championship, the Clippers say help them win their first championship, that would be huge for his Hall of Fame argument and his legacy. So he's what the doctor ordered there. They need leadership in the locker room. We know Kawhi isn't talkative. Rondo's played with better players than Kawhi. He's not afraid to get in anybody's face. He's got respect from guys because of his championships. And remember what Kawhi said after they lost to Denver. We need to improve our basketball IQ. Rondo has a high IQ. He's a coach on the floor. He can make plays, which is what they need from that point guard position. So I think this is a very real possibility.
But you remember the last time somebody challenged Kawhi, you remember what happens, Chris? He sat it down for 73 games. Remember that when he was in San Antonio? The guys got in his face. He said, because that's what Rondo is. Now, is it possible? Yeah, absolutely. And this is what happens. You win a title. Guys play extremely well. They play their way into huge paydays. I believe KCP is in line to get a big payday. I believe Rondo is in line to get a big payday. Now, the question is that Rob Pelinka and the front office is going to have to say, okay, how much are we willing to go? Now, if they go way overboard, but I think the big thing is, Chris, it comes down to this. If both teams can offer the same thing, it's basically a backup role versus a starting role. That's what it's going to come down to. Does he want to start? Rondo, a lot of people had given up Rondo for dead. The Lakers took a chance on him 2 years ago. He re-signed. He played it, parlayed that. 9 points in the playoffs, 4 rebounds, 7 assists. He proved he's the third most important player behind AD and Bron. There's no question about that. So the question is playing 25 minutes a night or possibly starting and playing 30, 31, 32 minutes a night. Mm-hmm. That's what it's going to come down to because the money is going to be the same, basically the mid-level exception.
This will not have anything to do with money. This is about legacy, opportunity, as Chris Broussard just pointed out. And this is going to happen because Rondo can see his way right down the highway to the Hall of Fame. This is a Hall of Fame move.
Back-to-back will be getting good to the Hall of Fame, too.
Here's the point about Kawhi Leonard. He wanted out of small-town San Antonio. He wanted out from under Greg Popovich. He wanted to get home to Los Angeles, at least to the L.A. area. He is home now. So Rondo can get in his face all he wants. He does not want out of Staples. He wants out of the basement of Staples. He wants to go upstairs and hang a banner.
Well,
that's what he wants to do.
He's going to hang one. He's going to hang one. Almost got past the second round.
Rajon Rondo is the final piece to the puzzle, the championship puzzle of the Los Angeles Clippers. It's exactly what they needed. If they had had Rondo last year in games 5, 6, or 7 with the leads of 16, 19, and 12, help me out. Do they get home in the fourth quarter? You better believe
You know what this is about, Chris? This is not about no Rondo. He wants them to weaken the Lakers. That's what this is about.
Well, that would be part of it.
Yeah,
that would be the icing on that cake.
That's what it's about.
Because he is your third most important player. And often in the finals, he was your most important player.
Stop it.
He took over fourth quarters.
Stop it.
Who led them in fourth quarter assists? Rondo. Playoff Rondo.
Yeah, I do think, Shannon, that you said it. If Rondo, say the Lakers, he stays there and they win it next year, does that help his Hall of Fame bid? Kinda, but obviously LeBron and AD get most of the glory. If he goes to the Clippers, even though Kawhi and Paul George will be better, and Rondo, does his thing in the playoffs, his playoff Rondo, he will get more credit with the Clippers because it'll be viewed as like, wow, he came here in his first year and he got this team over the hump. He gave them everything they needed to win this championship. He'd have championships, obviously, in Boston and L.A. Yeah, I think it would help his legacy more if he did it with the Clippers.
Chris, let me show you what the Clippers are going to hang up opening night in Staples. This is the banner they're going to hang up. Oh. That's what they got, Chris.
That's funny.
Yeah, they got it, Chris. They're going to hang that up. We're going to hang 2020 champs, baby. Raise to the Raptors, number 17. That's what y'all hanging.
That's really
you won't see. I see right through you, Skip Bayless. All he wants, he wasn't mentioning anything about no Rondo until they just came to the forefront and he started thinking, not only could I possibly strengthen this team, but I could weaken them. And that's what the Clippers did. That was the mistake. Anybody that we had interest in, what did they do, Chris? Marcus Morris, we wanted him. They gave up a first rounder to get him. We wanted Reggie Jackson. What did they do? They promised him a starting job to get him. Everybody we wanted, they jumped. Oh, Paul George, guess what, Paul George? He didn't want to come here. They gave up 5 first rounders to get him. We wanted Kawhi. What did they do? Promised him land in Timbuktu. And guess what? They got him. So all they do is try to get our leftovers.
And now they got Ty Lue.
Yeah, they got Ty Lue.
They got Ty Lue.
So all they do is get leftovers. Y'all is dirty. We the champs. Everybody gunning for us. But guess what? Rob Pelinka is in there like Minority Report, the Minority Report with Tom Cruise. He and Bron and AD, they putting these pieces together. Maybe Bradley Beal, maybe Victor Oladipo, maybe Broussard. Ain't no telling what we might do. But I tell you what, we got something for you.
I know what we might do. We are going to go get Rondo. And, Chris, do you remember what Deion Sanders did back in the 90s for the 49ers and then the Cowboys?
Oh, that Rondo Deion.
He goes to San Francisco and helps Steve Young finally break through and win a championship. And then he says, oh, Jerry wants me? I'll go help Barry Switzer win a championship with the Dallas Cowboys. Now, Rondo can go Deion. He'll say, well, I helped LeBron and AD win a championship. Now you got to go save Kawhi and Paul George and Ty Lue.
Oh, so Rondo going to save Kawhi.
Yep.
But, hey, Chris, do you remember what Rondo said immediately after the game? He said he was sitting there, he was sitting at home, and he was thinking to himself, he said, if I got with LeBron, somebody that has an IQ like mine, it's going to be virtually impossible for someone to beat us 4 times before we beat them 4 times. Now, he didn't mention Kawhi. He didn't mention Paul George. He mentioned no other superstar.
He
said LeBron.
That's exactly right.
Because that's what he do. So, great mind, Skip. I mean, great mind.
Now the great mind's going to the Clippers.
No, they
did not have a pure point guard.
What is Pat Bev?
Pat Bev is an excellent on-ball, bulldog, pit bull defender, and he's an opportunistic scorer, but he's more of a 2-guard than a point guard. He averaged 2 assists in the playoffs. Kawhi was the point guard, and Kawhi just dribbled the team to death because that's all they had.
The only thing Pat Bev is on guard. He ain't no point guard, first of all. But hold on, I thought they had arrived. He said it's their time. Remember, he was telling everybody that this offseason when they got Kawhi and Paul George, he told Steph Curry, y'all had y'all time up.
Yeah, you're about to.
He told LeBron, LeBron, you know it's over. No, Skip, we just get started.
Rondo is
back-to-back Jack.
Yep.
Back-to-back.
Just enjoy this one while you have
You're
it.
right, Skip. They need a point.
Yep.
Chris, we appreciate you helping us throughout the conversation today.
No mercy.
According to Fox Bet, the Buccaneers now have the 3rd highest Super Bowl odds at plus 800. Giants head coach Joe Judge has taken notice of the Bucs and their new leader, calling Tom Brady the fiercest competitor of all time. And that is a strong statement. Shannon, do you agree?
No. So I'm just supposed to believe that he's more competitive than John Elway or Ray Lewis, 2 guys that I played with. I think the thing is people just love to label people that have won and won a lot as competitive. Just because Tom Brady has won 6 Super Bowls, that doesn't mean he wanted it more than the guys that lost. Skip, a lot of things have to go well outside of Tom playing well. And when you play a team sport, I can see it. Now, individual sports, Skip, okay, you want to say boxing and Floyd Mayweather or y'all, I get it. Mixed martial arts, I get it. But when you play in a team sport, no. So since Tom Brady won 6, Bill Russell is the most competitive guy ever. Because he has 11 championships. Since we want to do it because he won? No, I do not believe Tom is, and there's no way to definitively quantify it, but just by saying because he won and he gets fired up, there's a split personality. But to make a long story short, sorry for the filibuster, no, I do not.
Shannon Sharp, I have been trying to explain this to you for 4 long years on this show. When it comes to cold-blooded clutchness, the closest thing we've ever seen to Michael Jeffrey Jordan is Thomas Brady.
So he's more competitive than Jordan.
I don't even have time to get.
Is he more competitive than Jordan? Yes or no?
I just said the closest thing.
No. But Joe Judge said he's the fiercest competitor of all time.
As fierce is what he said. As fierce.
No.
Yeah.
Well, no, I disagree.
Here's what keeps misleading you. Tom Brady is a wolf in sheep's clothing because off the field he doesn't look the part or act the part of this cutthroat killer on the football field who turns into Psycho Tom. You just can't see past all the nerdy, cliched, geeky, lame social media posts from Tom Brady, and you say, what is he doing? That's not the way a franchise quarterback should act. But you can't see through your hatred of Brady to the fourth quarter performances. He's only won 6 Super Bowls with 6 game-winning drives in the fourth quarter overtime. That's impossibly great. That is actually beyond Jordan because he's had more opportunities to be clutch than Jordan did.
So he wanted it more than the guys that he beat. They didn't want it. Tom just wanted it more. So that's the way we define it?
No, he just did it.
Okay,
At
then.
the highest level in the biggest game in your sport.
Yes.
He took the game over 6 times in the fourth quarter. Actually, 7 times, 8 times, because he took one over against Eli and should have closed that deal, and Belichick's defense said, here, we'll give it back to you, Eli.
Kind of like Pete Carroll decided to say, here, Russ, give it back to Tom Brady like that.
I thought that was the right call. You put in the you love Russell Wilson, right?
Stop it.
Well,
Stop
do you
it.
not love
Skip.
him?
So, no, hold on.
Good pass.
So let me ask you a question.
Break by the DB.
So the Russell Wilson we see today, that was the same Russell Wilson back then.
I think it was.
Stop, Skip.
Pete Carroll was saying that. That's what he said. I want the ball in his hands.
Skip, you and I both know that was a beast mode-led Legion of Boom team.
All I know is that in the fourth quarter of that game against the Legion of Boom, Tom Brady threw for 124 yards and 2 touchdowns and brought them back from 24 to 14 down against a legendary defense.
And he did that.
Legendary.
And that was because he was more competitive than the defense.
Well, he's the most competitive quarterback I've ever seen, and that's no disrespect to your guy, John Elway, or name's Joe Montana.
But that's not
he's
what
just done it more than those guys have on the biggest stage.
Okay, Skip, to say he's competitive, but there's no way to really quantify this because he's won. So if we're going to just base it on winning, shouldn't Bill Russell be number 1?
Look at what he did in AFC championship games at Kansas City in overtime against my homeboy. He converts 3 straight 3rd and 10s to drive them in for the game-winning score. How about against Saxonville?
So let me ask you a question.
With 20 stitches in the palm of his throwing hand, he throws for 138 in the fourth quarter and brings them from 20 to 10 down to get them to another Super Bowl.
I guess he wasn't competitive last year against Tennessee.
How can you argue against what you see? What do you see from it?
I just want to know. So was he competitive? Was he the most fiercest competitor last year against the Titans at home? A simple yes or a simple no?
No, there's no simple answer to that because yesterday you gave in to him and gave it up and you said, you know what? I was so wrong about Tom Brady because he didn't have any receivers.
Okay, but I'm saying, was he not competitive? Was he not fierce competitor then?
I told you what he did at the end of the year last year with nothing left in the cupboard. He had them in position to win the 2 seed.
When Joe Flacco went to New England and beat him twice, was he not a fierce competitor then?
No. I mean, he loses some. He's mortal. He's human.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
He's been in 9 Super Bowls, and in another one that he lost, all he did was throw for an all-time playoff record, 505. And Belichick's defense gave up 41 to a guy you have no respect for, Nick Foles.
But here's the thing.
A journeyman.
But you see, when he loses, it's everybody. So we don't mention nothing about the fierce competitor when he loses. Only when he wins.
Joe Judge knows because he saw it up close and personal.
Joe Judge.
Just leave it at that.
No Judge Judy.
Leave it. No comment there. We're gonna let it play out.
No mercy.
Guys, after the Dodgers brought a second title to LA this year, LeBron posted a cartoon of himself and Mookie Betts holding their trophies and sporting their rings. LeBron's caption read, quote, LA is the city of champions. Let's go. Then tagged Mookie, followed by saying, this is fire, with 10 fire emojis. Shannon, how much do you love this?
I love it. You know it's good we the city of champions. Unfortunately, somebody else will never know what it feels like to have that situation. But
next year.
The Dodgers and the Lakers, we about to go on a run here. We about to put about 2 or 3 of these, probably about back-to-back. Both of us going back-to-back.
The audacity of this man. Hey, everybody, I got 4, and he's got 2.
No.
I got 4, and he's got 2. But what the picture does not tell you, I got 4, but I've lost 6 finals. Guess what Mookie is? Mookie is 2 for 2 in the World Series. Would you take 2 for 2, or would you take 4 and 6?
That would see what you didn't fail to realize is that Tom was foreshadowing. That's what he was holding under the phone for. That was LeBron. Because LeBron said that's his friend, right? Did LeBron tweet?
4 and 6.
Whatever, you a hater. You a hater. We going back-to-back. It ain't nothing you can do about it.
I got 6 losses. You got no losses.
Take a picture of that. Because next year about this same time, it'll be 5 and 3. LeBron will have up 5. Mookie will have up 3.
LeBron, just stay out of the way of the Dodgers.
What you mean stay out of the way?
Yeah, stay out of the way. They did it the hard way. You did it the easy way.
Stop it, Skip. We did it the hard way. Quarantine in a bubble.
LeBron taking credit. That is it for Undisputed. Good stuff, guys. We're back at the same time tomorrow morning. We're done for the day. Have a good one.